Hello viewers, I welcome you to today's edition of our program. Of course, this is Kunye Health, and I want to use this opportunity to touch on a certain video I saw on the internet that is actually going viral in Africa, Nigeria specifically, where a woman is claiming that the children were actually manipulated in her womb and thus they look the way they look, quite aging faster. That's very ridiculous, especially the way people are responding to that particular video. A lot of people equally accepting that narrative and believing, and as well as making claims of certain other people or conditions they have seen certain kind of thing manifest. If we keep quiet this way, our society will never grow. Especially at this time that the youths are blaming a lot of factors, even scientific development, even religion as their problem. Whereas we have had more greatness than what we are seeing now, and we can still go far. This is Ozion the Specialist, your host and regular anchor on this Kunye Health, and there is need for you to learn because knowledge is power. And this is a station where we talk about health, and it's important that we address this issue because that thing you see there is a health problem. How is what I call you now to come and hear. The children I saw in that video looks this way. Let me just play the video so you can see.
How the 4 years, Kavadi?
No, this one I got.
Now, without going through the details that might still swing some people to be believing what she's saying, or because they have not had the very solid background of what they need to know about science, about health, I am here. I have volunteered to educate you on certain things. And listen, the children you see in this video, this picture you see, I cannot specifically tell you or diagnose them, but because there are already existing scientific proofs of what could make children age faster or rather retard in terms of growth. There are certain factors that can make a child to grow in a way that it wouldn't grow just like the mates do grow. Certain factors that can make some hormones, some genetic factors that can hinder the child from normal growth process. And this is why I want to just treat two factors that can cause this, which if you look at the picture and look at this woman, you might not understand what I'm saying. There are other factors because I'm not saying specifically that this is what it is until a diagnosis that will have to involve genetic testing will now prove what we are talking about. But at least with this exposure, you would understand that these things are possible and not what she is talking about, because what she's saying in this video and what some people are believing is quite different from making a child to look this way. And you're talking about looking similar. Have you heard about Down syndrome? Fine. If you've heard about Down syndrome, you see the way they look universally. This is just a family looking the same, which is normal. Remember, in some families or in most people who are married, staying together alone can make you look similar. But you might just talk about this one is a different thing, of course. So, but I'm telling you that there are people who look genetically, whose appearance look just the same across the whole world. Anywhere you see them, whether they are white, whether they are black, whether they are brown, whichever Mediterranean or African they are. And we talk about Down syndrome. Of course, that has been discussed in my forum, the Kunye Health Center. And then, if you want to watch, know about more about how chromosomes that make these people form this way and they equally look alike, go to the page, look for the video of Down syndrome, and you see. And now, specifically on this, there are certain factors I see that could equally make these children look the way they look. As much as the environment they are, there are certain factors known as congenital factors, of course, which Down syndrome is part of it, and as well as genetic factors. Congenital, genetic, and the congenital syndrome. That can be differentiated, but most times interchangeably used. Now, in this particular case, there are other things I have to mention. And other things I have to mention is, it could be probable alcohol problem or smoking problem. Now you might wonder, now let me use the words scientifically as they are. We talk about FASDS. The FASDS is talking about fetal alcohol spectrum disorders. So the fetal alcohol spectrum disorders, FASD, could be one problem that might make a child to look this way. Now, let's look at pictures of those who suffer from fetal alcohol syndrome disorders. Okay, they don't really come with one particular feature because this affects a lot of other features. These children you see in this particular video that are actually called for this particular video could have other diseases besides what you see physically. And the same thing happens to children who suffer FASD because they have multi-organ problem caused by alcohol, prenatal alcohol exposure. And you might wonder, how do I mention alcohol and these children? Now, it's another opportunity for you to look at to listen to the woman again and see her presentation. I'm not saying anything yet, but watch the video again. Okay, let's stop here. So this particular problem is all about exposing a child to alcohol prior to birth. A woman that drinks alcohol before she gives birth makes this kind of condition possible for the child or for the children. And this will not happen just in one child. It happens to all the children that she gives birth to while taking this alcohol. Alcohol has no particular minimal level for you to take it during pregnancy. During pregnancy, you are advised not to take alcohol at all. And if at all you have taken it, it might now depend on the body, depending on the quantity and other things that you have eaten that might now reduce the level of effect this might have. Mind you, alcohol reduces learning abilities. In fact, it impedes on the person's learning ability. We're talking about the child. Development of the child is retarded, and there are other defects that it causes. Now, there are certain categories in this syndrome because syndrome involves a variety of problems and symptoms that manifest with this. We have the fetal alcohol syndrome itself. We talk about spectrum. Spectrum accompanies all this. But amongst them, you have the fetal alcohol syndrome. The fetal alcohol syndrome represents the most of this particular spectrum we're talking about. And in the fetal alcohol syndrome, the child have this problem from the nervous system, central nervous system. The central nervous system is simply what connects the brain, the spinal cord, and entire body in terms of communication, and equally the sensation, and equally it affects the brain in terms of learning, ability to think, ability to do certain things, that coordination. That is the central nervous system. And when this is there in terms of a child, it is in terms of when you are talking about the FAS, the fetal alcohol syndrome, it manifests to a very great degree, which doesn't just end there. It affects the child learning, it affects the child memory, it affects the child. The child finds hard time in schooling, and someone would say these children actually, like the mom say, their parents say, are very intelligent. You would have to be intelligent to know the level of intelligence someone is. But let's leave it there. Other factors. We have the alcohol-related neurodevelopmental disorder. This is another thing. Neurodevelopmental disorder is also there about the nervous system. So this involves a whole lot of problems. Judgment, poor impulse control, attention deficit, and a whole lot. So I'm mentioning this in terms of categories. They are presented because they have different levels of damages that they do to these children. And this involves different organs as well. But these ones degenerate the person's brain such that these children, when they come out, you would be able to say that, yeah, you could call them anything. Then, what is alcohol-related birth defects? This one manifests with defects, visible defects that come in different ways. Visible defects that might involve the one you call a hirsutism, that comes with a ridge between the nose and the lips. This is different from the cleft lip, which you might be thinking. Cleft lip is the one that manifests when you are smoking, but we will have to treat the smoking later. Although in this case, the woman nor the children have been diagnosed, but the facts stated in this video would help someone understand this kind of situation better.